to Suite 303. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan, and in the studio today we have two guys from Grow Legal. We have Manpreet and Grier. Grier, thanks for being on the show. Manpreet, thank you guys.
For having us.
These guys are super innovative. I'm really excited to learn about their platform today, as their platform is just sweeping across Canada, North America, and the world. So guys, again, Grow Legally in a hashtag. Tell us what that is, and then we'll get into it, Grier.
Well, Grow Legally started as an advocacy group. However, what we do is we walk patients through the process of obtaining their medical cannabis authorizations and licensing for commercial purposes.
Wow. Now tell us, before we get into it, can you guys tell us your titles and your roles within the organization?
Yes, my name is Grier, and my title is Director and Founder.
Okay, and Manpreet?
So I'm the medical director of the company, and I deal with all the clinics and everything that has to do with medical cannabis authorizations.
So when you say you're the medical director, obviously you have a licensed doctor, or tell us about that.
I'm an international medical graduate.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what that means exactly.
So I'm a foreign doctor. I went to medical school in the Caribbean,
okay,
in Curacao, and now I work here and I oversee all the operations.
Now, is that part of the requirement to actually have your title? You have to have this type of education and license certifications?
I no one would hire me otherwise.
Yeah, and it's just so good because a lot of people still don't know really what the heck is going on. So, take us through the process of how we are here today, and then I got so many more questions, Grier.
We founded a company back in 2011. It all started out of advocacy. We learned that, through my own experiences trying to access cannabis as a medicine, I learned that it was very difficult. There was a few doctors prescribing. There was no education, no knowledge surrounding, legislation and, the bureaucracy to actually obtain one of these licenses. So I learned how to navigate through that process. I had some really good advisors and consultants. And I decided that I was going to start to help other people because I saw that there was a real need for this.
Wow, and this is like way before the curve, right?
Oh yeah. So my first license was an actual card with a picture on it.
Wow.
And that was back in 2009.
2009.
Exactly. So for the first 2 years before we founded the company, there was no company. It was just helping the community.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And how did you guys interact? How did you guys meet?
Manpreet came to the office, and he showed a lot of interest in working with Grow Legally, and we decided that we were going to form a collaboration and work together.
That's great. Now, so take us through, how did the actual conversation start with the legislation, or whoever you had to sort of get in the same room with to get that going, that conversation going? Take us a little bit through that.
Well, the conversation came up because as I mentioned, I'm a patient.
Okay.
I went through double neurosurgery. I lost the use of my full left arm.
Wow.
Through an accident, and speaking with colleagues of mine about my experience and trying to use alternative medicines, essentially brought up the conversation with my then partner,
okay,
who had a friend that he grew up with that was was a doctor,
okay,
and was willing to prescribe the medicine. So the conversation was just a normal social conversation, and that's essentially how great things happen, is through dialogue. And so we opened that conversation to whoever we meet. And it always bears some sort of fruit at the end, because if it's not the financial success, it's the gratitude that we receive from the community and the patients that we help.
And how long now have you guys actually been servicing the public?
Since 2009, once again, since 2009,
yeah,
I was helping individuals, but in 2011 is when we essentially opened up and founded the company.
Now, in 2011, it was so obviously so, I don't even know what to say, but legal in Canada or?
Oh yeah. I mean, legislation has been around for decades.
Okay.
And that's the point here, right? It's been around for decades, and nobody knew about it. No one knew how to access it. No one knew where to find the application forms. No one knew how to fill out the application forms. They just didn't know who to ask or how to navigate through that process. So.
And today is just crazy.
Yeah,
So,
it's you know, it's a huge
crazy.
contrast.
So from 2011, I don't want to go all the way through to 2019, but when did it actually, I mean, did it just change like when it did in the paper like last year, a year ago, where it, you know, flipped upside down sort of thing?
2014.
2014 is when...
As a matter of fact, it was essentially 2013 when they proposed the MMPR.
It was.
Exactly. So, the legislation that we were operating on, the first legislation was called the MMAR.
Okay.
And that legislation allowed for patients to either grow their own medicine, designate someone to grow for them, or access it through Health Canada. At that point, they were actually selling cannabis. But there was a lot of restrictions on the cannabis that they were producing. You know, the potency, the format that it could be delivered in. You know, and they didn't have any specific difference between THC or CBD. Wow. It was just, you know. So
it's come a long way.
It's come a very long way.
We're sitting here with the executives from Grow Legally. We are learning a lot about medicinal marijuana, all the new sort of updates, developments across Canada. Manpreet, if I can ask you now a little bit, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your perspective on the vision, on how it's gone across Canada, some of the great products that you guys offer, and I guess some of the benefits, and comparing Canada to the rest of the world. But let's talk about first how it's just, how's the vision has just exploded.
So Canada's on the forefront of the cannabis industry. I would say one of the leaders. We're the first G7 country to legalize cannabis.
Great point.
So we're now in full force at Grow Legally. We are expanding our clinic chain across the country. And this is really because the patients have brought this to us. It's not a medicine that the medical community has brought to the patients. It's something they've brought to us, and they advocated it and said it works, and now it's legal. And now that's why it's available for patients. And as it legalized, many strains came out, many different potencies, stuff that legal producers did not have before, and now we have the information. Now there's evidence backing it. It's helping with chronic pain. It's helping patients get off opioids that they'll be on for the rest of their lives. If there was no alternative, now there is something that's coming out that could potentially help all sorts of patients with chronic pain, chemotherapy, wasting diseases.
So let me ask you this, and I mean, just a little bit of perspective, like the THC and the CBD, or is there any other, like, are those the two pillars, I guess you could say, THC?
They're the most well documented.
Most well documented.
And researched.
And researched, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's many more.
I mean, I think they're the only two cannabinoids that have actually been isolated and researched extensively.
Okay.
And there's a lot of evidence backing their benefits. But there's over 100 cannabinoids.
There is.
CBN, CBG.
People just don't know, right?
But people are starting to realize these other cannabinoids, and now products are starting to highlight benefits of other cannabinoids like CBN.
I think we're going to take a quick break, so I'd like to come back. We're going to take and talk about more about the benefits. And I want to ask Manpreet, what is Canada compared to, like, how do the other countries look at us now? Like, they want to come in, they want to join us. But hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with the boys from Grow Legally. Stay tuned.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Stevens for the Disability Channel. Final preparations underway at the TPC River Highlands. The Travelers Championship, of course, this beautiful course will host some of the biggest names in golf. They're already in town. Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, Bubba Watson, Jordan Spieth, just to name a few. They'll start their practice rounds today. The Pro-Am is tomorrow with, of course, ESPN's Chris Berman, Ray Allen, the NBA legend, and George Lopez. Some of those guys are going to have fun tomorrow, too, if it doesn't rain. But we'll have coverage for you all week. I've got my motorized wheelchair to help me get around. I got my manual one when we catch up to some of these guys. So we'll try to give you some of the sights, the sounds, the flavors behind the scenes out here all weekend at the Travelers Championship in Cromwell, Connecticut. I'll be here. I'm Dave Stevens for the Disability Channel.
Welcome back to Suite 303. In the studio today, we have the executives from Grow Legal. We have Grier and we have Manpreet. Very interesting conversation we're having. I just want to get back to how the other countries, Manpreet, view Canada now with these new laws, these new bylaws, new policies. Give us your point of view.
So exactly, so we're basically the leaders. The rest of the world is looking to Canada to help establish a regulatory framework, a legal framework, and anything to do with the legalities of cannabis. The rest of the world is looking to us for help and guidance, so we're holding the hands of everyone else now.
And we see in the U.S. almost daily now, there's states that are legalizing marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think they're up to 12 or 17 now or something.
Yeah.
There's a few down there now. Does that have any positive interaction across border? Like, do we do much business with people down in the States? Are they asking many questions up here, Grier? Or?
They are asking questions, but you know, the border is a federal entity.
That's right.
And you know, if a Canadian's crossing the border to Canada, don't bring cannabis with you.
There you go.
You know, they don't have a federal legislation over there. We do over here, and so we have to recognize that.
Okay.
Okay. So you know, when it comes to America, you have to tread lightly, just because it's not a federal legislation. And yes, you can do business in different states, but it's so it's so intricate because you have states that have their own laws, and then you have the cities that have their own bylaws, and it just gets very confusing to try to understand.
I'm sure.
So you know, once they move towards a federal legislation, that's when things will start to
that makes sense. That makes
pick
sense.
up.
What I'd like to talk now about, we were talking off the air a little bit about the education side of things now. So maybe take us through about how important this is for people to learn the great positives that you guys offer.
Well, as a prerequisite to an appointment with a doctor, with Grow Legally, a patient has to go through an orientation. And because cannabis is so new, or it might not be so new, but it's new to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
We have to educate them on not just the science and the intake methods and how the medicine can benefit specific conditions, but also the legalities surrounding it. Yes, it's legal right
Mm-hmm.
now, but you know, it's legal to a certain extent. Okay, so you pass a certain threshold, then you can still go to jail. And through the medicinal framework, there's so much more benefits than the recreational framework, and we identify those benefits and we help them access those resources through the medicinal framework. I don't know, a lot of people don't know that there is a lot of coverage out there that exists for cannabis.
Okay.
And we help them navigate through that process. So, you know, educating individuals and helping them access this medicine is at the forefront of what we do on an international scale.
So important. Like I just know from our own platform, we deal with so many individuals that have chronic pain, illnesses, disabilities, and a lot of them have been saying, like, you know, the CBD oil or different streams or different methods, it's really helping, and they're kind of staying away from the prescription drugs if they can.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it remarkable because myself, I'm part of the community. I have a form of malaria, and I'm on touch wood. I'm on no prescription drugs, and I'm a big fan. It's really helped my whole life with you know, sleeping techniques. My eating habits, it's really helped. I find that I'm a pretty calm guy sometimes. But you know what I mean? I just find it's a lot better than, I mean, of course, sometimes you need prescription drugs and that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, but other times maybe you don't, but people don't know, so it's great having you guys in the studio today.
Well, Manpreet knows a lot about, you know, in making sure that certain drugs don't interact with each other and monitor this. So, through our prescription, through our treatment programs, it's a safe and monitored. And we work with other companies that help to create efficiencies in our treatment programs. So there's a lot of research that happens in this field because it's fairly new. And the thing about it is products are continuously being developed for cannabis. And edibles are going to be legal in a few months now.
I heard, yeah.
And there's going to be new dosing. There's going to be new products. There's going to be people that have no experience with this medicine. So we've developed a workshop strictly for edibles.
Oh wow!
Right. So we foresee.
That's great.
What the communities are going to need, and we help to develop those tools to create these efficiencies and these educational platforms.
Wow, so people can go on we'll get all your information before at the end of the interview. People will go on, 'cause I'm sure they'd be very interested. Manfred, if I can ask you, what type of people call your organization, and what type of questions do some of individuals ask you as opposed to, say, corporations or organizations? Can you take me through a couple of questions, or even Grier, that people call and ask?
So we have patients from all walks of life. So it's your normal everyday person looking to just bring some anxiety down to some patients who have post-traumatic stress disorders, chronic pain, all walks of life, really.
Okay.
Post-surgical patients that have some sort of phantom pain.
Mm-hmm.
We have organizations that call us almost every day asking how can we bring this to a part of our whole organization. So we're really working on educating everyone. We're not looking at this as something that's going to replace pharmaceuticals, but integrate it into the pharmaceutical industry and work all together to benefit patients.
Wow. And do people call you guys sometimes to find out information on how to get a license?
Oh, all the time. I mean, every
Yeah, and I
single
figure
day.
that's a big one. Eh? So but you guys don't issue licenses. You just help
we-
people with information, right?
Well, we help with the whole licensing process.
You do, right?
I mean, so, our patients come to us. A lot of them will come to us as a last resort. They've already been through the healthcare system. They've tried every prescription drug under the sun, and now they want to use cannabis. And a lot of them come frustrated.
Sure.
And mix that up with their medical conditions, and it takes a level of empathy and compassion. Okay, and this is how we approach things. All right, it's making sure that we can, manage the situation and provide that patient with what they really want, and that's just better healthcare. That's just better quality of life.
Now they can't actually, or can they? They can't purchase the product off you guys, right?
No, we don't sell cannabis.
Okay, that's good. I knew that. I just wanted to make sure our viewers understood that.
What we do is we help individuals who can qualify to access medical cannabis. We have physicians that will prescribe the medicines to patients, and we have treatment programs that are safe, that monitor the course of that treatment.
And do you guys deal with any of the marijuana manufacturers today in Canada? Like, can you guys interact with them
course.
on an ongoing basis?
Almost all of them in the country.
Like Green Relief and all those guys, right?
Yeah, Green Relief.
Yeah,
is
Warren's
awesome.
a nice guy. Warren's a really nice
Yeah.
guy. That's great, guys. I think we're going to take one more quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you guys to give out your information, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to want to find out a ton of questions, and including myself. I have so many more questions. I can keep you guys here all day, but I know it's Friday afternoon, so I won't do that. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with Suite 303. welcome back to Suite 303. I'm Jay Stoyan. In the studio today, we have the executives from Grow Legally. Guys, thanks for coming in today. Very appreciative. Awesome. I know we want to talk about a few more things. Manpreet, you were talking about physicians off air now? Share.
So another initiative that we have is we've noticed that the medical community has a huge unawareness of how to prescribe cannabis, how to treat patients. So we actually are going into practices now, and our programs are being implemented by family doctors across Ontario and across the country, and we'll actually educate them and bring them on board just to create a larger network and a larger team.
That's very important, and we didn't really touch on this, but it adds such an economic stream, right? Too, right? Like it's another stream where people can get employed and learn education, and,
Right.
and then obviously feel better
Exactly.
at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. It's creating huge jobs opportunities in places that would never had these opportunities before.
That's so good to hear. Like very positive. And Grier, I know we were talking off the air actually about your initiative now.
Yes, another opportunity that has just presented itself is to farmers. This is the first time where farmers can grow hemp to produce CBD.
Wow.
In line with our medical direction, we are going out there and we're educating farmers on how to grow hemp CBD, the whole licensing process, and navigate them through that regulatory framework.
Farmers must love that.
Well, it's awesome because the only prior to the new year when this change happened to the industrial hemp regulations, you can only grow hemp for seeds and fibers, and then you would have to destroy any flower heads that was cultivated. And the only way that you could actually grow CBD would be through a cannabis license. And a cannabis license, I mean, they have over the top regulations that, requirements to be compliant with a facility. It's almost like building, a huge prison.
Yes.
The type of security requirements that they put in place. So it's not practical to have that on a farm.
Okay.
Okay. So now with this new opportunity, farmers can now participate in the supply chain of cannabis within Canada. Although they're growing hemp, it's not categorized as a cannabis plant because of the 0.3 THC threshold.
Wow, that sounds like
Okay,
a
but
great
the
opportunity.
CBD can be as high as it can be, and pound for pound, CBD is just as valuable.
Wow, that's a great.
If not
sounds like-
more.
Sounds like a great opportunity.
Great opportunity.
I must say this. So you guys must be reading a lot.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Like
Yeah.
new legislation, new
All the
updates,
time.
new
Exactly.
bylaws all the
I
time.
mean, we have a
right?
full regulatory and compliance department.
That's great.
So they make sure that they keep us all up to date and informed.
That's wonderful. So guys, if people do want to find out more information, please do give out your website. Where could they find you guys?
Yeah.
Everything.
They can go to growlegally.ca.
Okay.
You can call us at 888-909-6336, and we can schedule an appointment, and they can come see us and talk to us.
That's great. I really appreciate coming in the studio today, guys. Again, we had the executives from Grow Legally. They taught us all about the marijuana licensing world. I'm sure we're going to hear much more from them. Again, if you do want to get in touch with them, they just give out their information, or you can call us, jay@thedisabilitychannel.ca. Join us on Roku TV. We're free subscription in 27 countries around the world. And look into our employment programs as we are expanding out to the region of Peel and Halton, or you can look us up right here in Toronto. Again, I'm Jay Stoyan, and you're watching Suite 303.